Ideational Theory. The weeping boy here is usually John Locke, since Locke seems to have held that the meanings of linguistic expressions are ideas in the mind. In this sort of view, what it is for a string of marks or noises to be meaningful is for the strings to express, or somehow significantly correspond to, a content-bearing mental state that the speaker is in, an idea, an image, or perhaps a thought or a belief. So, an ideational theory is a theory that based an idea. In the 17th century, empiricist John Locke he held that a linguistic meaning is a mental words or ideas in the mind that are used to encode and convey thoughts or ideas. So, constructed the meaning of expressions according to Locke is the idea associated with it and the mind and of anyone who knows and understands that expressions. And in other words, if a string is meaningful in that it expresses an idea, one can say that two expressions that are synonymous expresses the same idea. If a string is meaningful in that it expresses an idea, then two expressions that are synonymous are equivalent. As for just linguistic dispute, the ideationists may say it is not that one person has one concept and the other has a distinct. So both have the same idea, but in different terms they are sound and compatible. So an ideational theory seems to give us an intuitive way of expressing our meaning facts more precisely. Nonetheless, ideational theories have not been popular in this or the past century. So there are four objections held that make an ideational theory unpopular since Locke believes that language is an instrument for communications of thought. Objection 1. If an ideational theory is to be precise enough to test, it must specify what sort of mental entity an idea is, and then it will run into trouble, because mental images will not do at all. As a matter of fact, for images are more detailed than meanings. So a whole thought might do as the meaning of a complete sentence, but not every sentence expresses anyone's actual thought. And if thought is meant in more abstract sense, then we're talking about a different sort of theory. For example, the dog. If you can see the dog, you will think that it is not just a dog. You will conceptualize what breed the dog is, the shape, the size, or what. So there are more than that, and it can't be associated with ideas in the mind. For objection 2, the word is and of are just a few words that have no particular mental images or contents associated with them. As in the case with the referential theory, could not have images associated with them psychologically, for example the non-entity or chiliagon. And even when a word does not have an associated image, for example the color red, we do not always recall that image in our daily lives. Objection 3. The concept of meaning is a social phenomena that is public and intersubjective. So even if members of those who speak English don't comprehend the meaning of a word, it has the same meaning for the entire community speakers. So in the mind, meanings are not concept. It's tempting to respond by pointing to what all English speakers concept, for example of dog have in common. Yet dog is not an idea and an of itself, but it rather a type of idea, a universal or abstract quality. Objection 4. So a number of significant sentences do not express any true concept, thought, or state of mind. The reason for this is there are many English sentences that have never been spoken, and some of them will never be spoken. So in other words, there are statements that are or would be perfectly meaningful but have never been conceived of or even considered by anyone. It is, as a result, possible to find meaningful sentences that are not related to any actual mental things.